Hey now, happy Thursday. Good morning, PSW staff, clients, and friends joining us. Yesterday we had so much fun looking at Carl Stalling. Great composer. Did all of his orchestrations, worked with the click track, and that was in the days, obviously, before computers. You had to write everything by hand, and just a great career, 20-plus career of writing over 600 animated short films. I hope you enjoyed that. Results are in for Cliffhanger. Really good stuff. I mean, really good. That opening scene, for Gabe Walker, and his fear of flights, fear of heights, Sylvester Stallone. It's funny that he conquered his fear by doing a movie, that forced him to do that. So that was kind of an interesting piece of trivia, and he's good in it. So today we're going to finish out Cartoon Week, even though it's really just 2 days of cartoon stuff, with the Man of 1,000 Voices. And so today we're going to have so much fun looking at Mel Blanc.
At the end of his very first year in school, he comes running home with the happy news.
Mama, I got I got skipped to the next class. They gave me I've been expelled.
Blanc's the most prolific voiceover guy in the history of movies, of cartoons. He was the first guy to receive on-screen credit as the voice. I mean, and this is mostly starting in the 40s. We're going to take a look at his life and people around him, but the Man of 1,000 Voices, he was nicknamed. I mean, a doctor actually looked inside of his throat and noticed that he had thick, powerful vocal cords that gave him this range. So a doctor had never seen that, so maybe that was his special gift that he had in his throat. So more than 400 voices that he came up with. When you think of that, and he really came up with the characters. So we're going to tie this into art and music and all this stuff. So but when you think of that, that's amazing, because he was actually he was doing what comedians do, where he was writing the material. He knew how to deliver it, and he knew about timing. And isn't that what music's about too? Music is so much about timing. So we haven't talked much about comedy and music being so related, but it's so related because it's so much about timing. One is what you're speaking, another is what you're playing or singing, but they both have to do with timing. And sometimes you can teach that, sometimes you can't. Sometimes it's natural, all these things. So let's go to San Francisco and see his life. So he's born in 1908 in San Francisco and dies in 1989. So lives a long life, 60 years performing in radio, and his work in animation is Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, Porky Pig. Foghorn Leghorn's probably personally my favorite, but cast people from Looney Tunes and Merry Melodies, all in the golden age of animation, which is kind of, Disney starts that with Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs in 1937 up until The Jungle Book in 1967. But then Disney's not the only one, obviously. I mean, Warner Brothers is they have their whole library that's just as successful, thanks to Leon Schlesinger, and we'll talk about him. So Blanc was born Russian Jewish immigrants, parents, and Blanc is a funny name, isn't it? Well, it was actually spelled Blank, B-L-A-N-K, and because the teacher made him feel stupid, saying that he would amount to nothing and be just like his name, Blank, he took off the K and made it a C. So really, he showed that teacher who was boss, but really too bad. But that's how he got his spelling, because it's an unusual name. So he just created it himself. Started doing voices around 10 years old, and moved to Los Angeles in 1932, and became a regular on NBC, the Jack Benny program. Jack Benny was one of the most famous and most hilarious comedians of all time.
It says here that you do imitations, is that right?
Oh, yeah, that's right. I do animals, all kinds of things.
You do?
Oh, yeah.
Well, let's hear a dog, for instance.
Let's hear a dog. There's 18,000 kind of dogs, and he says, let's hear a dog. Be specific. What kind of dog do you want? There's Chows, Chihuahuas, Dachshunds, Doberman Pinschers, Cocker Spaniels.
Well, all right, let's hear you do a Cocker Spaniel.
I can't do that one.
what kind of a dog?
Well, I do small dogs, big dogs, happy dogs, sad dogs, and I also do a Saint Bernard.
Oh, I'd like to hear that. A Saint Bernard.
Yeah.
Let's hear that.
In 1936, he joins Leon Schlesinger's productions. Leon was a distant, he was related to the Warner Brothers family, but he had his own production company that was, amazing. So in the late 30s, Schlesinger puts Carl Stalling and Mel Blanc together, and those two create the world of animation that we all know and love today. This is really, we did a whole class on Carl Stalling, American composer, arranger, and did all the Looney Tunes and Merry Melodies, amazing orchestrations. He would write his own music, but then if you remember, he would take Rossini, he would take very well-known and orchestrate them in a way that was so fun and lively. So with Mel Blanc and Carl Stalling, these guys, this was a match made in heaven for just amazing the amount of humor and cleverness these two guys shared. So Bugs Bunny makes his appearance in A Wild Hare. So this is, and Blanc this is 1940. What's going on in the world in 1940? The war, right? It's mostly the war. Germany's and Italy taking most of Western Europe over, unfortunately. 1940 is when Pinocchio and Fantasia come out together. We did a class on Fantasia. And music-wise, what's going on? Is it the Beatles? No. It's swing music, right? 1940 is really, Glenn Miller and Bing Crosby, those guys are the biggest. People need feel-good music. People also need feel-good, cartoons, something silly and something fun to take your mind off the horrors of the world, of the war. So that's what's going on. And Blanc is just, he's having so much fun in the studio doing these things. His voices are amazing. He originates Woody Woodpecker and works at Universal Studios and other places that we did a class on. And in the 60s, he starts doing Hanna-Barbera and Barney Rubble of the Flintstones, and amazing career.
Hello, Acme Pet Shop?
Yes?
What's the big idea? I ordered a canary and not a dog.
Is that bad? I think you're very fortunate. After all, dog is man's best friend, you know. You should feel privileged to own such an animal.
I don't feel privileged.
Does this belong to you? Get out of here, Rabbit! If there's any giving away cigars, Yosemite Sam will give them. Here you are, mister. Gee, thanks. Oh, a wise guy, huh?
Who, me? Oh, I know lots of things. 2 and 2 is 4. Carson City is the capital of Nevada. George Washington was the first president.
Got it. This guy knows too much, Muggsy. We'll take him for a ride. Okay, boss.
Got in a really bad car accident in 1961, and right on Sunset, and the laws changed after that because people had been in accidents there before. But he did the voices. The Flintstones was in production, so he did the voices in his home bed and in the hospital bed, sometimes with a full body cast, and so that's how dedicated he was. He started smoking cigarettes at a really young age, so about a pack a day until his age 77. So he dies at the age of 81 from smoking. And on his gravestone, what do you think is up there on his epitaph? That's all, folks. So that's kind of funny. So it's really fun watching and hearing this guy. He explains that they would show him a picture. How does he do all this?
First, they show me a character.
Yeah.
They tell me what he's going to do in the story. They have a storyboard of the still picture showing me what he's going to do in the pictures.
Yeah.
Porky Pig, I tell the kids at the college, I wanted to be authentic about it.
Yeah?
So I went out to a pig farm and I wallowed around with the pigs for a couple of weeks. Then I come back to the studio and they kicked me out and said, go home and take a bath. Which I did. When I come back, I said, if a pig could talk, he would talk with a grunt. He said he was a little timid character. He'd talk with a grunt. You know, oink, 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 oink.
That's why Porky got his voice.
Again, we talk about acting, and this is truly acting, but it's also creating. I mean, and you guys are creative, and that's why we're talking about Mel Blanc. He wasn't doing impressions. He was actually writing the material in a sense, because we do impressions now, but we do impressions of probably somebody that Mel Blanc created. So I almost credit him with being a writer in the sense of creating something out of nothing, out of these characters, and being so versatile. I mean, it does not sound at all like the same guy's doing all these different voices.
Buster, it may come as a complete surprise to you to find that this is an animated cartoon. And that in animated cartoons they have scenery. And in all the years...
You're a doctor in the house?
I'm a doctor.
What's up, Doc?
Hey, baby, wait for me. I am strong too.
I got a 3 of clubs.
El gringo pussycat probablemente. Ole, arriba, epa, epa, arriba, ándale. Arriba,
Unhand those fair barnyard flowers. What's going on here? Well, don't stand there with your beak open. Say something. Explain yourself. Your tongue's flapping, but no noise is coming out of your big mouth.
So Mel Blanc thought he deserved a class, thought this would be fun to do a little cartoon voiceover. I mean, so Mel Blanc and Carl Stalling, those guys really created some amazing entertainment that's still going on today. So the first guy to get on-screen credit is cool, because that was back in the day when hardly anybody got credit. But Leon Schlesinger was a genius for putting these two together. Yesterday we looked at Carl Stalling, today Mel Blanc. That guy put both of these guys together, and the two of them, Mel Blanc and Carl Stalling, made history with cartoon music, with comedy. Really, you know, because comedians, especially young kid comedians, Steve Martin, or those they loved cartoons, they looked at cartoons, they probably got a lot of their influence, their comedic material by that. And I do credit Mel Blanc as a comedian, because he came up with, I mean, over 400 different characters, different voices, but not just an impression. He created the impression that we do today, like I mentioned. He wrote that character and their nuances and all of those things and what they would say. So that's just, he's not an impressionist. He's kind of like the inventor of impression. He's a writer, character writer. I just am endlessly fascinated with Mel Blanc. So, okay, so that's that. We'll see your film scoring results for Cliffhanger tomorrow, and make it a great rest of the day. Okay, see you tomorrow. Bye.